What's up, everybody? I'm John Hoover. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Another week without sports. Another week on the doorstep of hell, huh? But that has not stopped us from publishing tons and tons of content over at SI Sooners. You're going to want to check that out. allsooners.com, sisooners.com, or si.com/college/Oklahoma. If you follow OU sports, I'm telling you guys, that's where everything, and I mean everything, is happening. If you do not believe me, you're going to have to check it out for yourself, allsooners.com. Before we get on to all the stuff we've been working on this week, and there's been a lot, I got a really, really great personnel update for you that's going to make SI Sooners an even better experience for you, the consumer. Before we get to that, if you want more videos like this, please consider subscribing to this channel. Hit that notifications bell so you'll be the first to know when I post a new video. Also, please click the like button. Leave me a comment down below. And let's talk about it. I'm telling you guys, for a small YouTuber like me, I'm serious, people. These things make a huge difference for us. And listen, I appreciate each one. So you remember to find me on social media too. If you're on Twitter, you can follow me at John E. Hoover. Also, if you're on OU Fan, you're going to want to follow our new Twitter account @_allsooners, one word. And then on Facebook, you're going to want to find me at John E. Hoover Media. So what do we do over at SI Sooners? If you've been there, you know we work our butt off to bring you all the latest and greatest 411 on your favorite teams. In the last 6 days, I think we've posted something like 25 pieces of original content. Content like this day in OU Hoops history, which we know you guys love because, well, number one, you miss OU basketball because the stupid coronavirus canceled the NCAA tournament. Number two, because the stories and the videos that we've posted, that's right, videos, have been blowing up on OU basketball's NCAA history. Content like my series this week on Big 12's 4 new head coaches last year and how those guys are approaching their second offseason. Changes that they're implementing, new hires, transfers, different philosophies. Basically how their program is going to look different in year 2 than it did in the first year. I came up with this idea when I was still writing about the Big 12 for Sporting News. But the stupid coronavirus basically shut down, all the sports coverage. And, well, I went to work for Sports Illustrated. I couldn't very well still be working for Sporting News. You know how that works. So they released the story back to me, and I turned that thing into a 5-part series. Today is Friday, and part 1 ran on Monday. And, well, if you missed it, I'm sorry, but they're all still up there. You can read my exclusive one-on-one interviews with Chris Kleiman from Kansas State, Les Miles from Kansas, Matt Wells from Texas Tech, Neil Brown at West Virginia, over at, what is it again? It's sisooners.com. Tell you what, I will give you one little spoiler. All 4 coaches told me that they wanted to see more mental toughness out of their players, more physical strength, more accountability from within the team. And with this being the off season, they all 4 said this was the perfect time to attain those goals. Listen, before I go any further into the work we've been doing over at SI Sooners, I need to give you guys my big news. We added a deputy editor last week, and he is a future superstar. Trust me, I've been in the business enough to know. His name is Parker Thune. He's from Omaha. He's a junior at OU, and he's not only a terrific writer, but he's also very talented in front of the camera. He's going to put me out of work maybe. So find him over on Twitter at Parker Thune. That's Thune. You guys are really going to enjoy his work. And you know what? I need to correct something that I screwed up last week. Right here on this very YouTube channel, I included a headline about Alex Grinch talking about defensive tackles, and I failed to include the video of him actually talking about defensive tackles. My bad. It was a mistake. I apologize. I'm sorry. And a couple of you guys out in the audience complained in the comments. Imagine that, which is exactly what the comments is for, by the way. Anyway, when I realized what I'd done or hadn't done, I felt all kind of clickbaity inside, and I don't want that. So here you go, our interview with Alex Grinch from a couple weeks back, talking about them defensive tackles.
Alex, there's a huge hole in the middle. Nev, Dylan, Q. How close is someone like Jordan Kelly to making that next step?
Well, and not close enough, and that's just the reality of it. It doesn't mean he doesn't have the ability to do it or he's not going to have the opportunity to do it. But, I'll say this. The guys that contributed last year, were the guys that we felt could contribute last year. And believe me, we wanted more guys to contribute. So if you didn't see their name in the stat book or you didn't see them go in the game, there's a reason that they didn't. And in not all cases was it health related. And so, Jordan Kelly, all those guys up front. LeRon Stokes has to be a better playmaker for us. I love LeBron. He did a real nice job. Glad we had him, but we need production. And that's not being negative, that's being real, and he would tell you the exact same thing, and so all those guys in the middle, they certainly do have to produce more, and that includes everybody on our defense, but no, they got to step up.
Your impression of the JUCO defensive lineman that you brought in?
Well, it's been good, and obviously, the junior college guys you bring in, there's anticipation that they help you right away, otherwise you'd sign a young guy and give them your program for a few years. And so it's been good. And obviously we're just getting on the field with them one day, no pads, all those things. And so there's a learning curve. The difference, in the year's time, there's a couple guys with a learning curve that way. And there's, they take the field. There's 9 other guys kind of know what they're doing. They got to do it better. But, so that will help kind of, I think, enhance their growth as we move through this thing.
Speaking of Alex Grinch, Parker did a really cool story this week on his absolute swarm of offers on Tuesday to some elite high school defensive players around the country, really, in the 2021 class, the 2022 class, and the 2023 class. Tuesday night, I interviewed 2 of them, Alfonso Allen and Jalen Marshall, a couple of big, long, rangy defensive backs from Hallandale High School in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's that same high school, you guys will remember this, that produced Davin Joseph, the offensive lineman, remember played in the mid-2000s, all Big 12, played in the NFL for like 9 years now. Allen and Marshall just transferred to Hallandale this semester. Allen played last year at MacArthur High School. Marshall played last year at Chaminade, but they're going to be playing together this year at Hallandale. Allen said his MacArthur team last year had 6 shutouts. A lot of those guys are going over 6 shutouts. And their defensive coordinator, Junior Rosegreen, he told me basically he plays a 3-2-6 defensive setup because his DBs are so good, so big, so strong, so fast, so physical. A good example of that is I asked Alfonso Allen what position he prefers, corner or safety. You know what he's told me? I prefer defense. They were both sophomores last year, and I watched their huddle film clips, and I'm telling you guys, these kids look nothing like sophomores last year. Big hitters. Long, tall, rangy. Both Alfonso Allen and Jalen Marshall told me they could not believe that Alex Grinch called to offer them scholarships. How neat is that? They couldn't believe that they could go to a school like OU. And if you're wondering about that, they both have multiple offers from SEC schools. So that tells you what they think of OU. If you want to read what else they told me, or you want to check out their huddle highlights, I got clips on there, sisooners.com. Another story over at SI Sooners you're not going to want to miss. Just yesterday, Bob Bowlsby, the commissioner of the Big 12 Conference, he took part in a media conference call with national media, and I asked him basically if there's no way to know that there's going to be a 2020 college football season yet, which there's not, but if there's not, was there any way the Big 12 was already working on active contingency plans? Because, a lot of things could happen. Could be a full season, 10-game season, conference-only season, a 6-game season, or no season at all, anything. He said the league was not actively working on contingency plans, but he did say that some of his officers, like Assistant Commissioner for Football Ed Stewart, was, quote, thinking about it, unquote. I sure hope so. And you know what else? The real tragedy of not having a college football season in 2020 is not that we won't get to watch or cover or talk about football. It's that the revenue that will be generated by football actually pays for almost every other sport on campus, meaning the scholarships. That's the number one expense for these sports is all those scholarships. Without football, seriously, a lot of those kids, a lot of those scholarships, a lot of those athletes, those sports might have to shut down for a year. Think about it. That's a whole bunch of kids, 20 girls on a soccer team, 30 girls on a soccer team, 25 on baseball. Might not be able to go to school this fall. Think about that. Gosh, I know that's a worst case scenario here. And yes, I'm an expert in being a doomsayer, but that's why I asked Bob Bowlsby that question, because this is a scenario that people are going to need to plan for, or at least think about. His answer to my question there was pretty chilling. He said, quote, I don't know that universities are going to be in position to bridge finance athletics programs in any sort of meaningful way, unquote. He told me, quote, if the money goes away, it certainly necessitates difficult decisions, unquote. Again, I know, worst case scenario, but do not laugh this thing off just yet. Kirk Herbstreit said today he didn't think there was any way there would be a college football season this year. Now listen, Herbie's been wrong before, I know, but if he's right, boom, worst case scenario falls smack dab in your lap. And a lot of those high school seniors right now who are not going to have graduation ceremonies or proms or sports banquets or any of that stuff this year, they're not going to have anywhere to use their athletic scholarship next year if there's no football. It's just tragic. Parker wrote about what Herbstreit said this afternoon at SI Sooners, so be sure and check that out as well. Another cool story we had just yesterday was on Lincoln Riley's interview with the voice of the Sooners, Toby Rowland, on The Ref in Norman. Riley said that other conferences were sending their homebound athletes equipment that they could train with, balls and stretching bands, presumably, weights and foam rollers, stuff like that, other exercise gear. But the Big 12, Lincoln Riley said, was, quote, more stringent about it, unquote. Riley said he wanted the same rules to apply to all conferences, at least in the Power 5 level. And right now, while athletes in other conferences are able to train with certain equipment, the Big 12 is lagging behind. Imagine that. Anyway, Bowlsby said his first reaction to the spring football thing was just to shut everything down football-wise in the Big 12. But this weekend, he is meeting via teleconference with other conference commissioners as well as presidents, athletic directors. He said they're going to try and put their heads together, move forward on this thing in unison. Riley said he just needs to know, quote, what we can and can't do during this time, unquote. I don't think that's too much to ask. That's it for today. Remember, if you like this video, please hit the like button, leave a comment down below, or share it in your social media channels, and be sure to tag me, and I will share your share. Follow me on Twitter at John E. Hoover or on Facebook at John E. Hoover Media. And OU fans, trust me. SI Sooners is where you're going to want to be for all you OU sports. Nothing going on right now, but we're still cranking out copy. First of all, it's free, and remember, we have a community section, it's just like a message board. So all you got to do is click follow or click on the notifications bell icon at the top. You can let your voice be heard in our community. allsooners.com, sisooners.com. Thanks for watching. See you guys.